We're going to welcome, we have a bit of space for those of you who may be moved by spirit to stand and speak. I know Allison, one of Michael's children, is going to speak. But I'd like to add just a little amen to Margaret's words. Margaret, you spoke so beautifully and accurately for all of us who have served with Michael on staff at Pastoral Counseling and Growth Center. And we are honoring Michael, we're honoring you, and we're honoring Cliff and Janine and Jean and others through the years who've brought care and kindness and support to people throughout this region. One of the values of the center that really I was awakened to whenever we moved here, was a value on religious diversity. The region of Western North Carolina is home to people of progressive faith and people of conservative and fundamentalist faith. And it blew me away when Janine and I landed here in Asheville, the spectrum of theological and religious and spiritual diversity that our center served. And I think that was a value of Michael's, that he lived, embodied, and he nourished relationships with people across the region. And he taught us to do that, and I'm grateful for that. He also had values that extended beyond the walls of our center to the work of pastoral counseling in the region. And in the late 90s was instrumental. Instrumental, like it was his dream. And he enlisted others of us in supporting and helping that dream of a partnership that would support the work of pastoral counseling for people who did not have the ability who did not have health insurance or other means to pay for that care. And so through Michael's initiative, what was called then the Western North Carolina Pastoral Counseling Foundation was founded. It later changed under Mark Curtis. Mark, where are you? I saw you here. Yeah, Mark was chair of the board, and the name changed to Partnership for Pastoral Counseling. But that organization, I contacted the former director, helped subsidize over 24,000 hours of pastoral counseling for pastoral counselors throughout the region, not just at PCGC, over the years of its existence, 15 years, I believe. So there's so much to celebrate. And Michael, you're at the center of it, you and Peggy, and I count you not just as professional mentor, but friend. And I'm with Bernard. I will always love you. And I know you always love me, and that's been a constant through the years, your love and care for me, and I'm so grateful. So, Allison, if you'd like to speak, and if others may want to follow, I'll call time when we need to, but...
So I'll apologize. What I have to say is a little irreverent, and some of my language, thank goodness the youngest children belong to my family. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm the middle child of Michael and Peggy Hester, and yes, I wave that badge, the middle child badge, often when I explain to my children how unfair life is. I'm also the animal provider to my whole family, even having been the one to start the Hester Basset Hound love affair when I was in 7th grade, and bringing Annie Mae, the therapy dog, at the Pastoral Counseling and Growth Center into my parents' lives. So you might not know this about my daddy, but he often accompanied me, and I think he actually really enjoyed it, on my animal rescue adventures as a young child. And he still does today. I do animal rescue and work with animals. But my other claim to fame as a child was my father's first receptionist at his home counseling office on Vineyard. At the young age of 5 years, I took it upon myself to greet my father's appointments at the swing in our yard on Vineyard Place here in Asheville and put them at ease. And what I really mean, I would reveal all of my family secrets and embarrassing moments of all of the members of my family, just like any outgoing 5-year-old might do. But what I want to share with you tonight, what growing up the child of a counselor has been like, and some of the lessons my father has shared with us, his children, my sister. I have an older sister and a younger brother. I did not realize until adulthood that not every family has powwows on Sunday evenings to discuss feelings, upcoming week schedules, and even major moves states away. My sister still cannot hear the word powwow without feelings of major anxiety waving over her. These were the meetings where our moves were shared with us as kids, and we certainly all have escaped those moves pretty much unscathed for the most part, but this might be the reason each of us has mostly planted our families in one city and stayed completely put. We're not moving. Feelings were big-time conversations growing up, talking about, sharing, and maybe even overanalyzing those feelings a bit. There's one lesson that I'll share with you tonight that I tell my father often will be on his grave marker and shared long after he is gone to say it in person. It is the shit in your own lunchbox lesson. To set the scene, I was a senior in high school and in the middle of a teenage love triangle. You know, all the drama that comes along with those things. I was sad and a little bewildered as to what to do. I'd hurt other people's feelings and in turn had no idea how to right the wrongs I had done. Daddy noticed this one night when I came home and asked what was going on. We were standing at our house here in Asheville, the house in town, at the pool table. I can still imagine it. I filled him in on some of the drama, something completely out of my character at that age especially. After spilling my heart to him and telling him of my quandary, he looked at me and said, "Well, the way I see it is this. It really sucks when you shit in your own lunchbox and have to clean it up." And while I know that statement does not exactly ooze the compassion y'all are talking about tonight, one would imagine a pastoral counselor to have with his daughter especially, but Daddy's not known to really mince words, and in that moment, it was a pivotal lesson that my 17-year-old self probably needed to hear. It has been a lesson that I take with me and repeat on the daily. My children can bear witness. And it's true. It does suck when you make mistakes, and it affects others' hearts, and you have to fix these things. It sucks, but you must do it. We have to make things right, even when it sucks to do it. I have a 35-plus member team of staff that I run, and most know this story too. I share the lesson every opportunity because it's timeless, really. Because I think we can all relate to situations where we have shit in our own lunchboxes and had to clean it up. We also know what it feels like to be in someone's lunchbox and be shit upon. So feel free to share this lesson, words of wisdom, as you move about your lives. It's a valuable one with so many uses. Brought to you by Michael Hester.
Anyone else feeling moved? Jump to the mic.
I do not want to follow that, but I will. Wow. Michael Hester, I love you. My wife Terry loves you. Where does a broken minister go when he's messed up? And I couldn't articulate it any better. My mess up was 19 plus years ago. And my parents flew me from Oklahoma to North Carolina. And for the next 19 years, I've been working with Michael. He walked me through brokenness. I was, as I like to say, tore up from the floor up and like tons of junk in my trunk. I love the porch swing. That's my favorite place. It's my sacred place. About 3 years ago, my wife took a picture and just gave it to me on my birthday, and it's that swing, Michael. And Miss Peggy, you said it, I don't know what grumpy or what he was, but I just know he was an ambassador. He was an instrument. He was the one who helped me deal with the death of a marriage, the death of ministry as I'd known it. Relationships with my children, relationships with family. Thank you, Michael, for just walking the journey with me. Probably the number one of the many things that he said to me over and over again. He said, Kelvin, you got to learn to speak your truth. You got to learn to speak your truth. And he's helped me learn to do that. And when you learn to speak your truth, it will set you free. He also told me, he said, Jesus said the truth will set you free, but it'll make you sick before it sets you free. And man, I had to go through the sickness to enjoy the freedom. 11 years ago, I got to join a ministry team out at Biltmore Church. And from that day to now, many of the things that God has used Michael to help remake in my life, I get to share. My wife and I will celebrate 16 years of marriage in a few days. I outpunted my coverage. If you take a look at her, you'll know that. Michael's been a part of our lives, blending our families, celebrating. One final memory, my dad died 12 years ago. He walked me through before Dad died, but the night that we celebrated my dad's life, I'll always remember I looked down to my right, and there sat my pastoral counselor. But there sat my friend who was just there to say, I love you, and God's grace is going to be enough. Love you, Michael Hester.